We all remember the touching scene in episode 6 when Darth Vader turned back to the light side. It was a powerful moment and the climax of Anakin Skywalker's entire life. But what many don't know is that this wasn't the first time Vader had glimpsed the light side since the Clone Wars. The path to redemption is never linear, and Vader had stepped foot on it once before, long ago. In today's video, we're going to recount the tale of how Darth Vader almost found his way back to the light side long before Luke Skywalker was there to redeem him.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
The end of the Clone Wars saw most of the Jedi Order wiped out and the Sith rise to power. Darth Vader emerged from the ashes to take his place as the Emperor's apprentice, but he wasn't a full Sith just yet. After his defeat on Mustafar at the hands of his former master, Vader carried no lightsaber. Without the Crimson Blade, his transformation into Vader was not yet complete. Thus, the Emperor sent him on a quest across the galaxy to hunt down any remaining Jedi and take their lightsaber crystal for himself. It was on this mission that Darth Vader came the closest he ever did to returning to the light before the events of Episode 6. 19 years before the Battle of Yavin, Vader infiltrated an old Jedi way station while hunting the survivors of Order 66. Here, he accessed the Jedi archives and learnt of a likely remnant of the Jedi Order. On Mount Pasval, on the mid-rim river moon of Al'Dolin, stood a sacred Jedi monastery, home to Jedi Master Kirak Infil'a, a powerful warrior. This was the Jedi that Vader decided to slay in his quest for a new lightsaber, so he departed for the mid-rim. His arrival on Al'Dolin, however, did not go unnoticed. Master Infil'a, the sole occupant of the monastery, was not just a warrior. He was a Jedi Master skilled in the ways of the Force, and he sensed Vader the moment he entered the planet's atmosphere. As Vader's ship approached the monastery, the Old Master ordered the monastery's training droids to activate the mountain's defenses. Intricate projectiles dealt heavy damage to the ship, leading to a crash landing in the plains below. With his ship temporarily out of commission, Vader faced the choice of remaining with his craft until it was repaired or hunting his prey on foot. Vader chose to brave the mountain alone, not for fear that his target would escape, but because Vader and Infil'a had sensed each other in the Force. A great battle of wills had begun, and the anticipation rose on both sides. Vader could not disappoint him. When Vader reached the foot of the mountain where the gates to the compound stood, Master Infil'a gazed down at him from above. The Jedi knew Vader for what he was, a twisted mass of dark side energy. Although he understood that Vader was there to kill him, he welcomed the challenge like the warrior he was and informed Vader that he would not succeed. But it wasn't just darkness that he sensed within Vader. Even isolated on Al'Dolin, Infil'a had felt the waves of pain echoing through the Force when Order 66 was carried out. Now, he sensed that same darkness within Vader that had killed his brothers and sisters, and he would avenge them. You see, Master Infil'a wasn't a regular Jedi. He was a warrior whose sole purpose was to fight. Long ago, he had taken the Barash vow to atone for his transgressions, and this vow kept him away from active service to the Jedi Order. As part of his penance, he had exiled himself to that lonely monastery to meditate until his true purpose was revealed. And now, he'd found it, killing Vader and avenging his Jedi brethren. Rather than fighting him there and then, however, the Jedi Master challenged Vader to ascend the mountain and face its trials. Mount Pasval was a mountain sacred to the Order, designed to test the minds and bodies of those who tried its slopes. Infil'a would meet Vader at the summit. He only allowed Vader to face the first two trials, however, before he ordered the remaining traps to be disabled. He'd had the time to examine the young Sith's presence in the Force as Vader fought his way through the obstacles, and had realized that the darkness within him just didn't resemble what had befallen the Jedi. It was as if he'd taken all that echoing pain and held it within himself. And so they fought at the summit. Infil'a wielding his green lightsaber, and Vader an electro staff he'd taken from one of the facility's training droids. During the fight, Infil'a demonstrated why he'd earned his reputation as an extremely powerful warrior, defeating Vader with ease. This quick defeat was not what the Jedi had anticipated from the being who destroyed the entire Jedi Order. Based on Vader's weakness, the Master concluded that he must be the apprentice to a more powerful Sith. This Master, the Jedi decided, would be his next target in his self-appointed quest to eradicate the Sith and restore order to the galaxy. To hunt this more powerful Sith, he had to leave the planet. And so, he yeeted Vader straight off the mountaintop and left for nearby Amberla City to reclaim his ship from storage and leave the moon. He wasn't allowed to leave, however, as Vader pursued him to the city, wounded and enraged, but alive. Unwilling to risk civilian lives, the Jedi instructed them to prepare his ship while he lured Vader to the top of the more isolated Amberla City Dam, which contained the waters of the massive lake. Once more, they fought, and once more, Vader lost. Before Infil'a could land the killing blow, a squad of city guards arrived, calling for both Force users to stand down. Vader seized this opportunity, force-pushing the guards off the dam to distract Infil'a, who tried to reach out with the Force to save them. As Vader would later say in Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi, the weakness of the Jedi was their compassion. Rather than fight the Jedi Master he knew he couldn't defeat, Vader, channeling the power of the dark side, began destroying the dam. As predicted, Infil'a was outraged. He begged Vader to kill him if he must, but to spare the civilians who would all perish if the dam failed. Vader showed no mercy. Calling on the Force, he pulled the Jedi's saber to one hand and then reached out with the other to force choke the old master until he broke his neck. The dam crumbled anyway, unleashing the lake in the city below. So how exactly was this a potential redemption arc? With his stolen crystal now in hand, all Vader had left to do was attune it to his own twisted purpose. Following the Emperor's command, he set course for Mustafar, where the strong dark side locus under the planet's surface would guide him. At this point, we should probably talk about what it meant for a Sith to make a Kyber crystal their own. When a Jedi claimed a Kyber crystal from the Trial of the Gathering, they then needed to attune it to their will. By meditating with their crystal, a connection between the Jedi and Blade could be formed, and this bond strengthened the Jedi during battle. Sith, on the other hand, needed to go far beyond meditation. Unlike the Jedi who worked in harmony with their crystal, the Sith subjugated it by breaking the crystal's will. They poured their negative emotions into the crystal. Their anger, hatred, and pain overwhelmed the crystal until it, too, resonated with those negative emotions. The crystal thus became an extension of the Sith's own suffering. This process was called bleeding, and it was with this that Sith turned their crystals blood red. That was Vader's goal when he landed on Mustafar and journeyed deep into one of the caves where the dark side called to him strongest. On the stone slab within, he laid down the Jedi's lightsaber and removed the green Kyber crystal. But things didn't go quite as he expected. When Vader reached out with the Force to break the crystal's will, the crystal fought back. It flashed with a bright pulse of energy that knocked him to the ground and shattered his visor. And in that bright glow, Anakin's blue eyes were revealed. The crystal showed him a vision of what could be if he turned away from the dark side. It was a vision of Anakin, crushed by the weight of what he had done, humbled by his remorse. Rather than subjugating the crystal to his will, Anakin took the green crystal and returned it to Darth Sidious, not as his apprentice, but as his enemy. In the vision, the two fought and Anakin prevailed, slaying the Emperor. He didn't take his throne, however. Instead, he sought out his beloved former master and knelt before him, begging Obi-Wan for help, forgiveness, or the release of death. We may never know which. This vision could have changed the course of the galaxy. Vader could have chosen there and then to return to the light. He could have chosen to end the reign of the Sith and return to Obi-Wan. Instead, clouded by rage and pain, he rejected the vision. With images of those he'd loved and lost flashing through his mind, Vader channeled his pain into the crystal until it submitted and turned red. The person who returned to the Emperor was not there to strike the Emperor down. He did not return as Anakin Skywalker, redeemed Jedi, but as Darth Vader, Sith apprentice with his new Crimson Blade. And the rest was history. But what do you think? What would the galaxy have been like if Darth Vader had reached for the light far sooner? Feel free to let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.